you guys, happy Wednesday. Welcome back to the Fumble Live. We are getting into some news about Paul George, how he got dragged on Instagram. We're also talking about the Sixers and the Celtics and Joel Embiid because it looks like he is back. But before we dive into all the latest news, make sure you subscribe to our channel, tap the bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up, and leave a comment below. Here's the Fumble Squad. I'm Devin Howard. You can find me on Instagram as @DevinHoward.
Morning, everybody. I'm Jackie Ray. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at JRayTheFanatic.
So you guys, sorry that we are a couple minutes late here. Sometimes, we have to deal with technical difficulties. We're not the only ones. We're going to be talking about actually somebody who also had some issues in the post-up, right, Jackie?
Yes, we are. It's cute, though.
So we're not the only ones, but thank you for bearing with us. We're so happy that you're here. Jackie, how are you doing today? Did you have a good Taco Tuesday? What's the latest?
Well, the latest is I'm officially going to up my apartment search because I think you heard part of my story of all the hell and chaos that broke loose in Hollywood last night, and I'm over it. I can't do it anymore. I'm going to have to do that hour drive. It's fine. I just got to get out of Hollywood, though.
Oh, gosh, I don't blame you. I don't know how you lasted in Hollywood for a year. I don't even like to go to Hollywood for dinner. So it's pretty impressive that you've been able to stay this long and stay put. But damn, I don't think I could do it. It's just too chaotic and hectic over there and so much foot traffic too, which I just can't stand. For me, I'm like, the least amount of people is the best way for me to live. I like to be alone. I don't want anyone around me. Okay, let's get into the news, you guys. Let's talk about Paul George because, like I mentioned at the top of the show, he is getting dragged for a joke that he made to Karl Anthony Towns. Now, we all know that Karl Anthony Towns has had an extremely, extremely rough year. He lost his mom and other family members to COVID-19, and he himself also had a really rough go when he had it. So clearly, COVID is something that impacted him. It impacted all of us, but it impacted him in particular extremely deeply. Now, he posted an Instagram picture of himself, which Leo is going to show you right now, getting the COVID-19 vaccine. And you guys might see that there is a comment from Paul George that says, "They say it shrinks your foot." Now, a lot of people felt like this was extremely insensitive and distasteful for him to make a joke about getting the vaccine, especially because of everything that Karl Anthony Towns has dealt with when it comes to coronavirus. And the comment section just absolutely tore Paul George apart. They were saying things like, "Shut the F up, pandemic P still throwing bricks. Why are you like this? You worried about the wrong shot, buddy. And don't know when to shut your mouth, bro. Joking like you don't realize what this man went through. Just take your money and run back and forth on the court." And then there were also tweets that were talking about this comment that Paul George made. Somebody wrote, "Best case scenario is that Paul George thought it would be funny to joke about COVID with Karl Anthony Towns. That's the best case scenario." There's another tweet coming up here that says, "Paul George making any joke COVID related to Karl Anthony Towns is purely in bad taste and it was mad unnecessary. Like, bro, why?" Another tweet that says, Paul George, or actually, no, sorry, that was the last tweet that I was going to read that were tearing him apart. But there are also people who were saying that Paul George's joke is very distasteful, especially given what Kat has gone through. But then there were other people who felt like the internet was making too big a deal out of Paul George's comment, saying that it shouldn't be taken that seriously and they're funny. So they're like friends. So this person said, "Paul George and Karl Anthony Towns are boys, and he is clearly making fun of the conspiracy theorists and the people who won't take the vaccine. Give it a rest." And then there's another one that says, "You guys are so horny for Paul George slander, LMFAO. He's mocking the conspiracy theory people. He's one of Karl Anthony Towns' close friends. Stop being sensitive. Holy S word." Now, okay, so I want to give my 2 cents about this. So I have dealt with a lot of loss in my life, and I've seen, for example, my grandma had Alzheimer's, and I found, it's really difficult to deal with something like that, but I found that, if you're unable to find the humor in the situation, the kind of like funny, weird things that she says or does when she was alive and she was kind of losing her memory, you're going to have a really hard time dealing with the tragic thing that's happening. So I think being able to find, you know, the humor or the positive in a situation is an easy way for people to deal with it. I don't know if Karl Anthony Towns is the same way that I am, but I have always found that being able to sit back and just kind of like pinpoint the moments that could be funny, that could be humorous, that could be, you know, heartwarming is the easiest way to kind of deal with something that's really, really tough. And people are right. Paul George and Karl Anthony Towns are friends, and they joke around a lot. There was a video that I meant to put in here, but I think I forgot to put it in for Leo to show you guys. But, you know, they're playing a game of, I think it was one-on-one, and Karl Anthony Towns punches Paul George in the face and then makes a shot. You know, we've seen that video before, and it's funny. You know, they're always joking around. So I don't know that Paul George deserves all the dragging, but Jackie, what's your take on this?
It's similar to what you said. When my dad passed away, I was okay when I was like helping everyone deal with it, and, you know, but the second I had to just be alone with my thoughts, I went into this horrible, horrible place. You know, it was just complete and utter sadness and loneliness. And one of the things that snapped me out of it was my best friend. You know, she came by. I don't think I had showered for like days. I was just super depressed. And she came by and she said, you know, your dad would slap the hell out of you right now. You sitting here just moping around. He would tell you to get up. And she tried to imitate his voice, which was horrible. She failed miserably, but it was funny, and it made me, it instantly me going down this path of talking about all the funny times. So sometimes, my dad used to say this all the time, sometimes you got to laugh to keep from crying. So I agree with you. That being said, I don't know how Karl Anthony Towns feels about it, because I'm talking about losing my dad. I'm not talking about losing my dad and 6 other family members, you know, 7 people in total that you lost. So I don't know how he feels about it. My take on this was, however Karl Anthony Towns feels about it, that's how we should feel about it. If he's upset about it, we should be upset about it. If he thinks it's funny and he's laughing it off, we should think it's funny and we should laugh it off, because it's his story. It's what he has personally gone through, and he has the right to feel however he feels, and we should be supportive in that. I do think it's a little different, and I understand why people are sensitive about it. I do agree with that one user. It's probably a totally different thing. He's not making fun of coronavirus per se. He's talking about the vaccine. And there's been a lot of jokes going around about the vaccine. I saw Lil Nas X make a joke about it. A lot of people say I've heard this shrink your foot thing. I've heard all these other funny jokes about it. And, you know, obviously 2 things. I expect Karl Anthony Towns to be one of the first people to get the vaccine because of what he knows and what he experienced about it. And 2, I do expect people who are really close to him to maybe jab at him in a way that is weird to us, because we're not friends with him. We don't know him like that. My friends would probably make a jab at me like this because they know I would find it funny. You might not find it funny, but you're not my friend, and you know what I mean? So I don't have a thought process on this, because I don't know yet how Karl Anthony Towns is feeling. If he shares anything, then I'll have a reaction to it. But Paul George, I do think sometimes he doesn't deserve all of the slander that he's getting. This one might be that time, because I feel like he went through his own mental anguish in the bubble, and I don't think he would go out of his way to say something completely insensitive if he didn't think that his friend was going to view it as something lighthearted. I don't think he's malicious. I don't think he's that type of person. So yeah, I have to just wait and see. I have to wait and see how Karl Anthony Towns feels about it before I drag Paul George based off of one comment, and I don't even understand how deep their relationship is. I just don't think that's right.
Yeah, I think I feel exactly the same way that you do. And I also feel pretty confident that Paul George wouldn't go into the comment section of Karl Anthony Towns knowing what he went through and then make sort of a funny little joke about the vaccine if he didn't think that Karl Anthony Towns was going to find humor in it or be able to handle it, So I sort of feel like their relationship is deep enough for Paul George at least to know that Karl Anthony Towns isn't going to be super offended by it. But until Karl speaks himself, I guess we're not going to really know. But I know for me personally that, and I guess for you too, Jackie, if you're really down in the dumps, having somebody that brings you out of it with a funny joke or a memory about, the person that you lost that's going to make you laugh is just the easiest way to kind of get through it. And it's really tough when you're dealing with loss, when you're grieving. having somebody there able to do something that makes you laugh is so valuable and so important. So I'm not mad about this one. Unless Karl Anthony Towns is mad, I'm not mad. And I don't think Karl Anthony Towns is mad. Let's jump into our next need to know news story. This is all about the Sixers and the Celtics. So the Sixers and the Celtics met for the third and final time last night, and the Sixers came out on top, just like they did in the first two games against the Celtics. It was a close game early on, but the Sixers ended up walking away with the lead, and it was a 106-96 win. And the Sixers completed a series sweep over the Celtics for the first time since 2001, and that's when Allen Iverson was in a Sixers uniform. So it's been a very long time since they've been able to do this. In the past, Joel Embiid has struggled a little bit against the Sixers, but this season he was just on fire. It was really impressive to see. Over those 3 games, he proved that the Celtics don't really have anybody on their roster who's capable of slowing him down or stopping him. He was really just on fire. In the first game, he scored 42 points and 11 rebounds. In the second game, it was 38 points, 11 rebounds. And then last night, it was 35 points and 6 rebounds. So his numbers are looking really good. After the game, he praised himself, saying, "I'm usually critical of myself, but tonight I thought I was great." Doc Rivers also said that Joel Embiid said, "I'm back," when he was walking out, and then Doc said, "Yeah, I noticed." So Joel Embiid is feeling confident. He's looking good. I am very happy for him. But Jackie, do you think that these 3 games prove that the Sixers are able to rise in the East, especially when they have a healthy Joel Embiid on the floor with them?
I mean, I love what Joel Embiid said. I love that he's having this confidence, and I love that he's saying, "Yeah, I'm back." Because regardless of my opinion about the whole situation, you need him specifically to have that kind of confidence, and you need him to play with that kind of confidence if you are going to take down this juggernaut that is the Brooklyn Nets. And I know they're tied with the Brooklyn Nets right now for first. And, to be honest, I didn't think that they would be. I thought that the Brooklyn Nets were just going to run away with it. I thought it was going to probably come down between a battle between the Brooklyn Nets and the Milwaukee Bucks. But shouts out to the 76ers, because I think that whatever chemistry issues that I thought they had, they're definitely past that, in my opinion. So I do, and overcoming the Celtics and sweeping them like this, I know a lot of people will downplay that, but I think that's a big moment because, like you said, they have struggled specifically with the Celtics. And for them to kind of step up and embrace their own, I think that's the main thing I'm seeing from the 76ers right now. Because before, it's always been this whole thing of, I don't know, like maybe they're kind of finding themselves a little bit. Maybe they're still not figuring out who does what and what their relationship is with one another. I didn't watch the whole game last night, but I watched a ton of the highlights and I watched most of the fourth quarter. And it looks to me like they know exactly who they are as a team, and they are gelling in a way that I haven't seen them gel before. And I've said this before, chemistry, that is a huge thing. And so now I'm not ready to say it yet. I'm not ready to just jump on this wagon and say, yes, it's going to come down. The Battle of the East is going to come down to the 76ers and the Nets. But give me a week. I might end up there because what I saw last night, I haven't watched enough of the 76ers play to say that for sure. Obviously, I'm going to have to spend more time watching their games because the way I saw Joel Embiid was just insane. And he definitely, and it looks like they've accepted him as the guy that's going to lead that team. And that's the thing. And I said that yesterday. One of the reasons why I feel like the Clippers are struggling is because they don't have a definitive leader. And in my heart of hearts, you'll never be able to change my mind about that. Each team needs a definitive leader, and if Joel is going to step up and be that guy, I think that's dope, and I think that's exactly what they need. So now it is, and wouldn't it be great though? Wouldn't it be great if this Thanos-like thing that we see happening in Brooklyn ended up with the 76ers being the Avengers and killing that whole action? That would be insane, and I don't think any of us would expect that, me included, because I think it was end of last week, I said absolutely not. The 76ers are not going to be able to contend with the Nets, and it's not even a week later. Now I'm like, oh shoot, I don't know, maybe they can. So it's a big deal to me. I know somebody in the chat said the Celtics suck. I definitely don't think that, but I think it's a big deal that they swept them this season because they have struggled. So I love it.
I love it too. So I know now you're kind of questioning whether or not the Nets really are going to be able to have this, hold over the Sixers. So you don't feel like the Sixers will struggle when they're going up against this star power roster that is the Brooklyn Nets. You don't feel like that's a given at this point? You think that they could go in strong and potentially beat the Nets?
Yeah, if you go in there with confidence, anybody is beatable. Everybody is beatable. We know that. So I think if you go in there with the confidence and you're not intimidated, and that's the thing, that's one of the things that I think the Brooklyn Nets really have going for them. Before they even step on the court, people are intimidated because you look at that roster and you just don't know. You just don't know how you're going to combat that. So yeah, and they have been beaten. So that's that. So now you just have to go in there. And here's the thing, it's kind of a trickle down effect. If you go in there and you beat the Nets, that's going to give every other team that comes after you confidence to think they can go in there and beat the Nets and really start giving. I don't think every team is going to give the Nets. In fact, I think most teams won't give them a run for their money. But if a couple of y'all can, that's going to be a big deal, especially going into late in the season as we get into these playoffs. So I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see it. I think it's going to make for great TV. It's going to make for great basketball. And if the 76ers come out on top, it's going to blow up this whole juggernaut theory and this whole super team theory. Because if a super team can't get past the 76ers, maybe we should stop using the phrase super team, because in my head, a super team should definitely get past the 76ers. Period.
Mm-hmm. I know, that's so true, and it's hard to imagine that a lineup like the Nets have with Kyrie, KD, James Harden could actually fall short in a game against the Sixers. But yeah, that'll be very interesting to see. It seems like in the chat, a lot of people are also very impressed with the fact that the Sixers were able to win those 3 games against the Celtics. Kevin says, the Celtics are in the Celtics' head after the sweep last year, so this is a big deal. Jeremiah apparently is a Sixers fan, although I thought he was a Warriors fan. I don't know about that. I think he switches teams quite a bit. But yeah, it's very interesting to see. And, Joel Embiid was really looking good last night and in the 3 games against the Celtics. So we'll have to see what happens. They could actually be some competition for a super team. Now, before we go into the post-up, Jackie, I wanted to ask you about comebacks. While we're talking about it, Joel Embiid had this great comeback. I mean, the Sixers had this great comeback. Did you see how Steph basically single-handedly beat the Bucks last night? And do you feel like it was the reason because Steph beat them, or because the Bucks didn't have Giannis there and so Steph was able to beat them? What do you think the situation was with that?
Yeah, I think the Bucks beat themselves more than Steph beat them. The Bucks literally fall apart every time Giannis is not there. And I can't hate on them for that, because here we are. Sometimes I don't even know if the Lakers squad we have without AD and LeBron could beat a high school JV team. Sometimes they go out there and look terrible. So I'm not trying to shade the Bucks because they lose their way when Giannis isn't on the floor. But that always is curious to me, because it's always next man up. You always want to steal the limelight from the main guy. And when a team fails to do that, it's troublesome to me. When Kyle Kuzma fails to do that, it's troublesome to me. He had one 30-point game, and then after that, it's like, where did he go? And that's just unfortunate. That happens a lot. And so I think that sometimes teams they lose their way without their leader. It's not a ding on them, because like I said, every team needs a leader. But at the same time, you should be able to beat Steph Curry by him. You know what I mean? Like you should be able to beat one guy. You guys are a whole squad. You should be able to figure it out. There's plenty of tape on Steph Curry to help you figure out how to shut this situation down. So yeah, I think this is a learning moment for them, and they really need to understand, because they're 3rd in the East right now. You can't have these moments. You need to understand that if we need to start managing his minutes, y'all can't start losing the lead. Y'all can't start doing things like that. So you need to step up when Giannis isn't on the floor. Period.
Jeremiah's mad at you for that one, Jackie.
Jeremiah stay mad. I mean, he stay mad. I don't know where Jeremiah is from, but there's madness in the water, because Jeremiah stay mad.
It's so funny. All right. Well, that wraps up Need to Know News. So, Jackie, will you fill us in on what's going on in the post-up?
Yes, let's get to it. Because this post-up is going to be fun. Because this first one, look, I am a Trez fan. I've always said that the next jersey I buy for the Lakers would probably be a Caruso jersey, but I don't know. At this moment in time, it might be Trez because this is a mini what we not going to do. What we not going to do is toss my boy around and think that you ain't going to suffer some consequences about that. I love this. Dennis Schröder tries to prevent OG Anunoby from falling, tries to extend this level of kindness, and look at how he is repaid, but still, shouts out to Trez for stepping in. Take a look.
Dribble, gets tripped up, no whistle. They say play on, length of the court, and that's a foul. Oh, whoa.
That should be a
whoa, look out. That was OG. And that is a wrestling move, taking down Schröder.
Schröder was holding him up, and
this is unacceptable to me. Yeah, I know. One more time, Leo, for prosperity. Okay, well, it's coming. I know Leo's going to throw it back up.
No whistle. They say play on, length of the court, and that's a foul. Oh, whoa.
Unnecessary. That, Dennis is probably never going to be nice to somebody again. Next time Dennis is in a position where he can help prevent somebody from falling, guess what? They about to fall because you're not about to toss me again. You're not about to do that. Trez ended up getting tossed for that, and OG got tossed for it as well. But the fact that Trez got tossed for it, I was so mad about that because this is exactly what you're supposed to do. When your boy is in a situation that is unnecessary, you need to step in. This is what you need to do. But, of course, people feel how they feel about it. Let me show you this first one because this user thought the same thing I did. It was like, what in the WWE is this? Exactly. Why did you literally picked him up and dropped him. What'd you say, Devin?
I just laughed. I didn't. It is like the WWE. I'm shocked that this happened during a basketball game.
And it was intentional. I don't care what anyone says. It wasn't like he just grabbed him accidentally. This was intentional. But I love Trez's comments about this because he said, my beef is with anybody who didn't have on a Lakers jersey. And I saw y'all in the chat. Y'all are like, oh, okay, wasn't he just a Clipper? He was just a Clipper, but he is a Laker now. And anybody who's not a Laker can get it. And I love this about Trez. Trez is my guy. He is my guy for sure. And I love this moment because, look, everybody's showing it, talking about OB's face. No, yeah, talking about Trent's face. Trent's face got me crying because he's like, what am I supposed to do in this situation? That was a lot. I love this. I love this moment in time from Trez specifically. I did not like this from OG at all. This is too much. But let's get on to this next one. Because this one is, we were talking about Giannis earlier. This is one of those moments in time where I love to see the chemistry between these guys because we know the absorbent amount of money that Giannis is making. And he's out here calling, he calls Drew Holiday big money. Really? Nobody is your level of big money. Take a look at this.
This is cash money, and this is big money. Follow me. So as I said, this is cash money, and this is big money.
Big money.
Big money right here. Hey.
Do we remember what happened like 3 months ago?
What is he talking about?
Do we remember what he signed for?
Biggest ever? $250 million? Like the biggest ever, I think. $250 million, I think.
Look at him. Look at his face. Come on, bro.
You talking about me?
Hey, he can really buy these buildings.
It's not about me today. Today is not about me. It's about this guy.
This the only. This is
He's
first
a buck for
Look,
life.
I'm on my last.
No. He's a buck for life.
He gonna get 3 more of these.
I love this. Yes, I just want to get to the point where we need to argue over the millions in our bank account. Devin, can we get to that point? Can we get to the point where we're like, oh no, Devin, you got the millions today. Oh no, girl, you got the millions today. I just want that to happen.
I know, that's the kind of energy I want for us. But quick question, isn't that guy that one that's that Bitcoin investor or?
That's him.
That's how he made his money. Worked hard with Bitcoin.
That's it.
I love Giannis because Giannis is Giannis is not really super funny. He's not the most comedic guy, but he tries so hard to be funny and lighthearted, and it's so endearing every time he does it. I love his energy. He's like just a sweet guy.
I could listen to him talk all day. I absolutely love his accent. I could just sit around. He could just sing the ABCs to me. I'd be like, Giannis, I love your voice. It's so amazing. His accent is fantastic. Okay, so here we go. It happens. My producer insists on finding these moments that are going to make me at least temporarily stop my Shaquille O'Neal slander. Yes, Shaquille O'Neal does do a lot. He is a giving person. He just, some things he says I just don't like. But I will say this. This guy in the video, his name is Donald. I don't like Donald now because even though I feel how I feel about Shaq, if Shaq had done this for me, I would have been like, oh my God, Shaq, thank you so much. I probably would have cried. I would have at least tried to hug him. Dude is way too chill. I don't like this. But take a look at Shaq and his giving spirit.
I appreciate it.
Thanks for the giving.
You know, this is the first time. Every time you come in here, I always get on 30 minutes before you come in here.
Okay, so we learned a lot in that moment. One, Donald isn't as appreciative as I would want him to be. He's buying an engagement ring for, obviously someone, and he should be over the top the fact that he didn't have to pay for that engagement ring. Because if it's a decent engagement ring, it was expensive. That's number one. Number two, the sales guy letting us know that Shaq comes in there all the time. There's a lot to unpack in this video. Obviously, I just want Mr. Donald to be a little bit more appreciative about this. But people actually love this from Shaq, as they should. And they kind of took to his Instagram and said, Shaq's the GOAT. Shaq is the legend, one of the best people on earth, hands down. And then the last user says, I love him. I feel he's always doing good things for his community and others also. So, yes, Shaq, this is a beautiful moment. Donald, when this happens, be more appreciative. This isn't a given. Be more appreciative, sir. This deserved more than a handshake, in my opinion. But maybe that's just me. Devin, do you think it deserved more than just a little, hey, thank you? That was just not enough for me.
His reaction was way too chill. If that were me, I probably would have cried. So I don't know what this guy, I don't know why he's so chill. I know men don't feel like they can show their emotions as well, but you can at least have a little bit more enthusiasm about this. I agree with you 100%. I also feel like we just need to take a moment and remember this right here where you are actually complimenting Shaq. I think this is maybe like the third time that I've ever heard you do this. So let's just appreciate the moment here. Jackie is showing some love for Shaq. Doesn't happen often.
It doesn't, but this was great, Shaq. I'm sorry you weren't appreciated in this moment the way you should have been. It was a beautiful gesture. So there we go. I said it. Now we're going to move on, and hopefully we can stay on this Shaq love train. Don't say anything crazy to Donovan Mitchell, first of all. That will help. But let's move on to this next one because, you guys, we were a little late today because we had some technical difficulties. It happens. It doesn't happen to just us. It also happens to one of the greatest shooters of all time, in my opinion, Stephen Wardell Curry. Take a look.
And Stephen kind enough to join us now. Stephen, can you hear us? It's Brian Anderson and Jim Jackson.
Hold on, I got to play Geek Squad and turn this up. I can't hear.
Go ahead. Do what you need to do. Microphone test for Stephen Curry. Okay.
I love that. My favorite moment, though, is still when Brian Anderson said, John Morant, can you hear me? And he yelled that back, 12 back, can you hear me? That's still going to be my favorite moment in time. We're going to have to give Steph a catchphrase or something because I need it to be more epic. But look, you see, it happens to everybody, not just us. And shout out to Steph for giving the Geek Squad this little free advertisement there. That was fantastic. So I love that as well. This next one. Okay. Things have changed for sure. I am not even teetering. I am diving in headfirst to a Tom Brady fan. I know a lot of you guys do not like it, but this is beautiful to me. I love all things Tom Brady, including his trip to Disney World, because Disney posted this tweet, which I love. He said, he went to Disney World. 7-time Super Bowl champion Tom Brady recently had an out-of-this-world adventure while visiting Star Wars Galaxy's Edge at Disney World Hollywood Studio. I have been there. This is amazing. I didn't get to do all of this stuff that Tom Brady, but I'm not a 7-time Super Bowl winner. But yes, if you have a chance to go, this is an amazing, amazing time at Disney World. It's one of my favorite times that I've ever gone to Disney World. So Tom Brady retweeted that And I love his retweet too, because he's finding humor just in the fact that he's still playing at his age. And I love that about him. He says, I honestly just keep playing for the free trips to Disney World. That would be an incentive for me to play, just to go to Disney World for free, because it's expensive. And I'm assuming they shut down the park, or at least mostly, because he gets to experience everything. This is the best part of this whole trip. Take a look at what he posted it to his IG. It's awesome.
I think these guys got a problem with me.
I didn't get to do none of that when I went. None of it. There was no, I didn't know. There was some girl outside that had this little hoodie on that smelled funny because everybody and their mama had worn it that day, and it was like 105 degrees outside. They put the hoodie on you, you get the little lightsaber for like 2 seconds for them to take you a picture. I didn't get no stormtroopers. I didn't get this whole setup for me, but I'm not Tom Brady. So that's why. But he posted about this on his Instagram as well, and I love his comment. He said, thank you, Walt Disney World, for showing me and my family an incredible time. Darth Vader told my son Benny, the Force is strong with this one. And now I will be spending the rest of the week convincing him that A, Jedi isn't a real profession, and B, he is not allowed to the dark side. How can you not love this Tom Brady? I don't understand. Devin, what do you think about Tom Brady's Disney World outing?
I mean, yeah, he does seem cool. It seems like he has fun every day. I don't feel like we see Tom Brady having a really bad day or anything. And maybe that's just the image he's projecting on social media, but it seems like he's always ready to crack a joke. He's always ready to kind of make fun of himself or have fun with the situation. I don't know. I appreciate it. And I'm shocked that both of us have decided that Tampa Bay Tom is actually a pretty cool guy. So, I'm glad that Florida was able to bring that out of him. I'm glad that he was able to become a more likable personality, and it just shows in these Disney World videos. But yeah, I agree with you about not getting that same experience at Disney World. I actually went to Disneyland right before the pandemic happened, and I'm shocked. Everything shut down maybe 2 weeks later, and I was there with my whole family and waited in so many long lines. Tampa Bay Tom doesn't have to do that, so I'm a little bit jealous, but it's okay.
I'm jealous too. Because that looked so refreshing, and I wasn't mad before today, but now I'm mad about that smelly hoodie thing they put me in to take the picture with the lightsaber. I took it though. I did, because it was epic, and I just needed the picture. But do better, Disney.
Gross.
Right. So nasty. But yes, let's go on to this next one, because this Sam Darnold situation is just annoying to me. We're going to talk about this more and what we're not going to do. But this, to me, is probably one of the lamest celebrations I have seen in a long time. I don't like it, number one, because I do think that Teddy Bridgewater is a better quarterback than Sam Darnold. Y'all can argue with me on that in the chat at a later date. But even if aside from that, this party is just so lame. Look, y'all just watch this party. See, what he needed to do was call Paul Pierce, and then he would have had a real party. Too soon? I don't know. So
Yes, that's so good, Jackie.
That might have been too soon. I don't know. But yes, definitely should have. That party was so lame. I was not a fan of it. But people in Twitter said, he deserved this party, and that this party was a good thing because basically he was celebrating leaving the Jets, and that is reason enough to party. So, okay, perhaps it was. I'll give you guys that. It said, damn, he's throwing a party just to be a disappointment in Carolina. Good for him. That part. Let's move on to, I think I have one more tweet that says, you know what? Leave this man alone. He said, I would be excited too if I left the poverty Jets. So, okay, the Jets do struggle. That's fine. So maybe that's what he's celebrating. But that was probably one of the lamest parties I've ever seen in my entire life. All right, so now let me get to this next one. Let me just let you guys know right now that this one is so adorable to me, because kids just kind of, you can feel the love when they feel the love. And these kids sitting on the sidewalk waiting for their dad to come home is such a beautiful thing. So Baylor coach posted this. Alvin Brooks, he said, I haven't seen my sons in 27 days and they are waiting for me on the curb. Look at that. That is so cute. They're just patiently waiting for their dad. I know that has to be just heartwarming and heart-wrenching, both at the same time. Heartwarming to know his kids just love him that much that they're waiting for him, but heart-wrenching to know you had to be away from them for 27 days. It is a beautiful, beautiful moment. I agree with this next user who kind of shared what this means. He says, great young men usually have great fathers in their lives. Great dads usually have sons that miss them when they are not at home. This is how you raise your kids. I absolutely love this. This is 100% true. But Twitter is still petty. They are not going to let that lawn go. Says dad needs to de-weed that lawn. And of course, somebody says, the dude been gone for 27 days now. Calm down. Still, no, this next user is like, I'm going to show some loves, but we still need to address that lawn. He says, hug them, dude. Hug them a long, long time. Then get to de-weeding immediately. So if you didn't see all the weeds in his lawn, there were a lot of weeds. This isn't a 27 days worth of weeds. He hasn't de-weeded his lawn in quite some time, but still, nonetheless, y'all don't have to be so petty. Let's just enjoy this endearing moment, you know, because they don't come around all that often, especially when you are North Carolina's head coach. He took what should have been a great moment and ruined it for me. So we're going to get into this next one right now because he definitely ruined this whole moment for me. You go on this whole moment in time. I'm not even going to get into this because I can't say what I want to say on here about this man. But trust me when I tell you, if you want to check out my podcast on Friday, I'm going to let this man have it because I'm like David Banner right now. I'm trying to hold back the inner Hulk. So y'all just watch this tomfoolery. Take a look.
It is significant, Steve. It's significant that I'm African American and I'm the head coach here. It's significant. I know that in terms of Division I head coaches all around the country, only 26% of the head coaches for Division I men's basketball are compromised by minorities, specifically African Americans. I know that it is significant that I'm the fourth African American head coach in any sport in the history of the University of North Carolina. I'm very proud to be African American, but I'm also very proud that my wife is white. And I'm very proud that my 3 beautiful, unbelievable kids are a combination of both of us.
Like I said, I'm going to refrain. I don't know if I can say all I want to say on this platform, but trust me, it will be said. So make sure you check my podcast out on Friday because this brother right here is going to get every piece of my fury. But I'm gonna let Twitter have at it a little bit because they kind of echoed it. He says you're the first Black coach in UNC history, and you make it a point to say you're proud of having a white wife. Yuck. Okay, I agree with that one. Let's go to this next one. I'm proud my wife is white, not proud to be a husband and a father, not proud that we have been together a long time, not proud to share this day with her, just proud that she is white and we got these biracial kids. All righty then, let me go on about my day. Okay. Twitter was nice, you guys. They were very nice in this moment. I shall not be. I shall give him my whole entire mind, so you got to make sure you listen. Devin, he absolutely positively ruined this moment for me. But how did you feel about it?
I mean, I thought it was bizarre. I didn't understand the point in saying it at all. Who cares if his wife is white? Why don't you talk about, how proud you are to be an African-American coach and to, have the support of your wife and to be, I think what the person said about not proud to be a husband or father, not proud of, all of that. I think that really hit the nail on the head for me because it doesn't matter if your wife is white. Who cares? It matters what you've accomplished and it matters what this means for the Black community. And I don't know, this makes no sense to me. I wish I knew what he was thinking when he decided to sit up there and talk about how his wife is white. I
know what he was thinking. I know exactly what he was thinking because this is a common thought process in Black men like him. I shall share these thoughts.
Give us
But
a
I
little
am
hint.
not. I am not. So, okay. All right. Here we go. Y'all want it? Here we go. Black men, there is a specific sect of black men who have a very negative viewpoint of black women. And they specifically, now some of y'all can go on this whole rant of you love who you love. I'm going to co-sign on that. You love who you love. But when you specifically go out of your way to talk badly about black women, when you came from a black woman, that's what he's doing right now. He's saying, I'm proud of my white wife. He didn't say I'm proud that my wife and kids are here to share this moment with me. He's saying I'm proud of my white wife. I'm glad that I, as a black man, have a white wife, which is a jab at black women. He think that we don't know. Maybe the rest of y'all don't know, but as black women, we know exactly what he's trying to say. And he's a clown for it. He's 100% a clown. And he should be ashamed of himself. And I hope that the dragging continues, because your white wife does not change the fact that if you're driving down the street in a car and the police pull you over, that they see you as a black man. Your white wife does not change that, sir. So your whole taking this moment to uplift a white woman just because she's white is shameful, and your kids should be embarrassed too, since you had to throw them in this situation as well. This whole thing was stupid, and it took away from the moment that we as black people chase after. We are going to, my kids are probably going to still be the first black something in the room, because that's the country that we live in. And instead of letting that be the moment for black people, so young black people can see this moment and they can say, yes, I too can. He took a moment to praise a white woman and like, look at me, you too can grow up and have a white woman. Like, that's something that you aspire to be. That's not, sir. You really, really blew this moment, and you really need to do better. Let me move on. Because y'all know I can do this all day. But speaking of, I know some of y'all said that when my face said the whole thing, because yes, a face can say 1,000 words. And Andre Johnson's face when Brandon Marshall says that they are the same wide receiver is pure comedy. I want y'all to look at this picture. And if a picture could say 1,000 words, look at his face like, bruh, we are not the same, my guy. No, we are not. So I want you to listen to this clip from it. It is kind of low, so if you got a noise in the background, I totally will turn it all the way up because the clip is super low. But take a listen and watch his face in real time. It is hilarious. Take a look. We the same what? Okay, let me help you guys. You can't say we the same wide receiver. Dre's just faster than me. As a wide receiver, if he's faster than you, he's better than you. That is one of the key aspects of being a wide receiver, because if you fast, that means you can outrun coverage, you can get open. So if he's faster than you, he thereby consequently is better than you. Not only that, he has the stats to say that he's better than you. And I love that this one user posted that. But then they had a battle on the stats. He says Johnson was first team All-Pro 2 times, Marshall 1. And Johnson has 7 Pro Bowls to Marshall's 6. Not a major difference, but a difference. The difference between a Hall of Famer and a great player for a long time. I could be splitting hairs, though. I don't know. And then somebody else chimes in and says, Brandon Marshall had 8 1,000-plus yard seasons, 4 double-digit touchdown seasons, and Andre Johnson had 7 1,000-plus yard seasons and 0 double-digit touchdown seasons. So apparently you guys, at least these two people, think that there's a difference between the two wide receivers. I actually watch both of these people play, and I'm going to say Andre's the better wide receiver because, again, he could outrun coverage and he could get open. The touchdown thing is legitimate, and I get that. But when you're talking about moving the sticks and getting open to get that first down in clutch situations, that is Andre's thing. So I don't know. Brandon Marshall just seemed to be on one in this whole thing because he didn't understand the difference between NFL and NBA contracts. He doesn't understand that being slower is not as good as being faster. He was just having a whole moment. So I don't know. Devin, when you saw the look on Andre's face, did that not say it all?
It said everything. It said everything. I feel like that whole thing is just like a train wreck based on what we talked about yesterday, like what you just mentioned. And then now this, it's like, what is even going on?
I don't know. But I still love you, Brandon Marshall. I don't want you to think that I don't, but maybe, I don't know. maybe take a beat sometimes and think before you speak. And maybe, but that's all I got for the post up. Now let's get into this next one because we talked about Sam Darnold earlier in the post up, and I am not a Sam Darnold fan. I don't know him as a person. I have no qualms with the man personally, but as a quarterback, I just don't think he's got that it factor. I definitely do not think he's better than Teddy Bridgewater. But now we've got news outlets, sports outlets, all saying that maybe the Jets did themselves a disservice by trading Sam Darnold. I get that that's easy to fall to because the Jets do themselves a disservice on everything. They don't really think through a lot of what they do. So that's 100% true. But guys, this is a different situation. I don't know if I feel like abandoning ship on the Sam Darnold train is the same as making bonehead decisions like the Jets normally do. So to be fair, the Jets don't have the best wide receiving core. They did just pick up Corey Davis from the Titans, but obviously we don't know how that's going to turn out because he still needs to kind of get acclimated to that system or lack thereof that a lot of us say. Jameis Crowder, he was targeted 89 times last season. He only had 59 catches. Obviously, some of those drops were Sam Darnold's fault. Some of those were just flat out uncatchable. Some of them were good defense, and some of those were Jameson's fault. So I'm not going to dispute that one at all. But I don't think that you really need to put Jameis Crowder in this whole, he's a trash wide receiver. I don't think he's great, but I don't think he's a trash wide receiver. And Denzel Mims, I know he got dragged a lot, but that was his rookie season. So, he still has time to get, acclimated to that system. So the question that people are asking right now is, did the Jets abandon the ship too early? And I'm going to say, first of all, no, but I understand why people think that because the Jets always seem to abandon their first round picks a little too soon. Maybe. I mean, depending on how you look at it. So in 2017, they picked up safety Jamal Adams in the first round. And last year they traded him to the Seahawks. In 2016, they picked their linebacker, Darren Lee. They picked him in the first round. And in 2019, they traded him to the Chiefs. In 2015, they picked up another lineman, Leonard Williams. They got him in the first round. And then in 2019, they traded him to the Giants. 2014, they got Calvin Pryor. 2017, they traded him to the Browns. And in 2013, they picked up Sheldon Richardson. And then in 2017, they traded him to the Seahawks. So it's not like they're just getting them and shipping them off. They are spending some time with them. Jamal Adams, though, is probably one of the best examples because he is a 3-time Pro Bowler. 2 of those were with the Jets. That trade made no sense because why would you trade away somebody who is being successful with your franchise? That doesn't make sense. The Leonard Williams trade, though, made sense because he has since struggled with injuries, so that is a good call. Sheldon Richardson had one decent season. It was the season they shipped him off to the Seahawks, but ever since then, he's kind of struggled. He hasn't put up the kind of numbers that warrant us saying that, the Jets are giving up on their first rounds too soon, because that is one that he hasn't done that well. I do get what they're saying, though, because those of you who were here last season, you remember that I said that this was the last year, which is his 3rd season, but this is the last year that I thought the Cleveland Browns should really invest in Baker Mayfield, because 3 years. You got 3 years to learn the systems, 3 years to come into practice early, leave late, do whatever you need to do to be effective for this franchise. And then I have to start thinking long term because you haven't done what you were supposed to do. But here, this is a good example because Baker Mayfield, he did end up stepping up in a big way. He went 11-5 in his 3rd season. Now, his numbers were still down from his rookie season, but in his rookie season, they went 6-7, and then sophomore season, 6-10. So, of course, you realize that even though the numbers aren't as good as his rookie season, he has made some adjustments, and they went 11-5. That is something you do not abandon ship from. Number-wise, Sam Darnold's best season was his sophomore season, but his numbers, even in his since then, have gone down. He's thrown 1,000 less yards last season. 1,000. That is not like a few here or there. That is 1,000 yards, and he only threw 9 touchdowns. This isn't giving up. This is kind of reading the writing on the wall and seeing that since your rookie season, you're just not the same guy. You did have a good sophomore season, but this is not this. we can't trust you, basically, I think is what the Jets are saying. And I think that is a legitimate thing to say. We can't trust that you are going to be our quarterback of the future. We need to figure out who our quarterback of the future is. Now, I get what people are saying, like, why trade him now when you don't really even have a really good option right now? You know, and obviously from what they traded for, they're planning on going into the draft and hopefully picking somebody that they think is good. But the Jets' problem is not that they're shipping off their first rounders too soon, because I think they've had enough success in doing that we can just throw that thought process out the window. And it's not that they gave up on Sam Darnold too soon, because I do not for one length of time think that Sam Darnold is going to go to North Carolina and all of a sudden be good. I don't think he's good now. And I think what's going to happen is they're going to end up starting him. They're going to start him for a while. And they're going to realize, okay, well, this wasn't right. And then Teddy Bridgewater is going to start. The problem isn't giving up on people. That they could ship out that whole squad. The problem is the Jets coaching, the Jets front office, that organization as a whole is not good. It's not, to some extent, it's not the players' fault. It's just not a good franchise. They haven't really looked at self and said, okay, these are the areas where we are failing our players. How can we do better? And then how can we bring in people that are going to help? They were absolutely right. I think it was the right call for them to get rid of Sam Darnold. I think that this is going to end up being buyer's remorse for North Carolina, but I could be wrong on that. But what we not going to do is write entire articles that make Sam Darnold seem like he the second coming of anything. He's not it. He's not it. You guys date stamp this, because if I'm wrong, throw it back in my face. But when I'm right, make sure you tell me that I'm right. Sam Darnold is not it. He's not going to have a successful career in Carolina. I'm trying to tell you, Devin, do you think that people are just, you think people are spinning this narrative that the Jets just gave up on Sam Darnold because that's what they do? They give up on first rounders. Do you really think he deserved more time? Do you think that they should have built around him? What do you think? Oh, you're on mute.
You did?
Oh, there you go. Yep.
Oh, I was like, I just clicked the unmute button. I don't know. I think it's interesting with Sam because the struggles with the team, I feel like they fell kind of squarely on his shoulders. And yes, he does show moments of like potential, and it's not like he's a total bust, but I think that it's easy to look at him and just say like, oh, this is the reason why they're struggling. But I don't know. I feel like he was given a fair shot. He was given he had an opportunity to really prove himself. And I don't know why the mentality is that they just give up on first rounders and that they needed to give him more time, because I think that he had the time, and I think that it just clearly wasn't working out. So I don't blame the Jets for deciding to move on from him. And I think that everything that you said is absolutely right, 1,000% right. Just I don't think that he's going to go to Carolina and the Panthers and have this, suddenly this wildly impressive run with them. I just think that he's not it. He's not that guy.
Mm-mm. Now, if I'm wrong, like I said, date stamp this. Make sure you throw it back up in my face and say, what's today? What is today? Today is April 7th, 2021. You said Sam Darnold was trash. Go ahead and throw it up in my face. But I'm going to throw it back in yours when you say, oh, no, he's not. And then he ends up being trash. I do think it's going to happen that way, though, because they've already, if you go to their website right now, they've already named Sam Darnold as the starter. They already have Teddy Bridgewater as the backup. I think that that's going to change sometime during the season. I think that that's their plan right now, but that's not going to work. I just don't believe it's going to work.
Yeah. I mean, he just hasn't been able to produce consistently, so I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of mind-boggling to me, but then again, people have takes on different trades and teams that are just like so far out of what either of us would think. So clearly people get very heated and invested in what's going on. But that wraps up the show. I promised Doug in the chat that I would wish him and his friend Kiki a happy birthday. So happy birthday, you guys. I hope it's a special one. We are currently in, I think, Aries season. I'm not really sure, but congratulations on being an Aries, I suppose. And I don't even know what it means, but yay, good for you. Happy birthday. I hope it's a special one. You guys, don't forget to subscribe and tap the bell. Leave a comment below. Share this video with your friends. Give this video a thumbs up, and we're going to be back again tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, so don't forget to tune in. We'll see you guys there, and have a great Wednesday. Bye, everyone.